There's something magical about the beginning of a video game. The music swells, the world opens up, and you get that feeling that this is going to be special. A strong opening can instantly hook players, setting up memorable characters, high-stakes stories, or thrilling gameplay mechanics. But what happens when that momentum fizzles out? What if the promising first few hours give way to repetitive systems, pacing issues, or baffling design decisions? Today we're going to look into the world of video games that start off amazing, only to lose their luster as the hours tick by. Whether it's a decline in narrative cohesion, gameplay fatigue, or overpromised features that go nowhere, these are the games that couldn't quite stick the landing. And before we start the video, I want to know down below what you think is a game that started off incredible, but fell apart as it went on. Now let's get into the video. I don't think any game better exemplifies amazing trailer, disappointing reality, more so than Dead Island. The reveal trailer was a perfect example of emotional storytelling, playing in reverse as family was torn apart by a zombie outbreak. It set the internet on fire. It promised a haunting, character-driven survival experience. And when you boot up Dead Island, it delivers. At first. You awaken in a tropical resort, sun-drenched and eerie. There's a real tension to the early hours, scavenging for weapons, making hard choices, and discovering the growing horror of the outbreak. Melee combat is satisfying in its weight and brutality. You feel vulnerable, which heightens the immersion. But as the game progresses, cracks begin to form. The combat, while visceral, becomes repetitive. Quests evolve into fetch missions. The story never reaches the emotional depth of the trailer and instead leans into cliches. Enemy variety is limited and bugs become more noticeable. What begins as a grounded survival horror game quickly spirals into a loot-focused grind. By the time you reach the latter areas, especially the city and jungle zones, the sense of atmosphere is largely gone. The balance shifts from tension to tedium. There's still fun to be had, especially in co-op, but Dead Island serves as a perfect example of a game that overpromised and underdelivered. It squandered an iconic opening with shallow follow-through. Final Fantasy XIII opens with a literal bang. The first hours are a cinematic thrill ride. Explosions, high-speed train escapes, mysterious lore, and a beautifully rendered world of Cocoon. You're introduced to a cast of interesting characters, Lightning, Snow, Saz, each with distinct personalities and motivations. The graphics, even today, are stunning. The music is top tier. There was so much promise to this game. But then you realize you're still in a hallway, and you'll be in that hallway for a long time. For about 20 hours, Final Fantasy XIII holds your hands in one of the most linear stretches in JRPG history. There's little exploration, no towns, and almost no deviation from the main path. The paradigm shift battle system has potential, but it doesn't really open up until later. Many players dropped off before even reaching the more open section of Pulse, by which point the story had become convoluted and emotionally distant. The game's structure became a lightning rod for criticism. While other Final Fantasy titles balanced open-world exploration with narrative direction, Final Fantasy XIII was unapologetically rigid. Its strongest moment? The opening sequence and early combat tutorials. It created this expectation of innovation and freedom. Instead, the game doubled down on visuals and left many core RPG fans behind. There's no denying that Final Fantasy XIII was ambitious, but it serves as a cautionary tale. A strong start means little if the rest of the journey doesn't evolve or reward player investment. When the Order 1886 was revealed, it was hyped as a PlayStation 4 powerhouse. The visuals were jaw-dropping, with realistic lighting, rich steampunk Victorian aesthetics, and detailed character models that rivaled CG films. The opening sequences showcase stunning cinematography, tense action, and intriguing lore involving ancient conspiracies and supernatural enemies. The first few hours of the game are exhilarating, tight direction, immersive world building, and cinematic gunfights. The game teases deep mechanics and narrative complexity. You feel like you're stepping into a rich universe full of political tension and fantastical elements. And then, it ends quickly. The campaign is around 5 to 6 hours long, with a story that barely scratches the surface of its potential. The werewolf encounters, hyped as a major gameplay feature, are limited and underwhelming. Gunplay is serviceable but basic, and once the credits roll, you realize the world of the Order was built for a trilogy that never came. This is a game that front-loads its strengths, visuals, mystery, and production value, but those strengths are window dressing. With no real gameplay depth, no replay value, and a story that stops rather than ends, The Order 1886 is the textbook example of a game that starts like a blockbuster and fizzles like a short film. When Will Wright announced Spore, it was billed as the next evolution in simulation games. An all-in-one package where you'd guide a life form from single-celled organism to spacefaring empire. The creature creator was a revelation. Players could design virtually anything, and the opening cell and creature stages had a whimsical, creative energy. The early stages feel magical, swimming through primordial soup, evolving limbs, climbing onto land, hunting or socializing with bizarre creatures. You feel like you're witnessing the grandeur of evolution firsthand. The customization is unmatched. But as the game shifts into the tribal, civilization, and space stages, it starts to unravel. Mechanics become shallower and more repetitive. The tribal and civ stages are stripped-down versions of RTS gameplay. The space stage, which was meant to be the game's climax, feels like a repetitive grind with fetch quests and irritating micromanagement. The deeper you get, the more the systems feel like tech demos rather than fully fleshed out mechanics. There's a sense that Spore tries to do too much and ends up doing none of it particularly well. Its brilliant, awe-inspiring start gives way to tedium and unfulfilled ambition. Despite this, Spore has a cult following, largely because of its creativity it fostered. But when evaluating it as a game, it's clear that its best moments are front-loaded. The dream of Spore remains more powerful than the execution. After years of anticipation, Cyberpunk 2077 delivered one of the most cinematic and compelling prologues in gaming. The character creation is deep. The world of Night City is jaw-droppingly detailed. The voice acting, especially Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand, adds gravitas. The opening missions are thrilling, story-driven, and full of promise. But once the dust settles and the game opens up, issues start to present themselves. On launch, the game was plagued with bugs, broken AI, and missing features. But even beyond the technical problems, the structure began to feel uneven. Open-world activities lack variety. RPG elements, like life paths, barely influence the story. Police AI is rudimentary. NPC interactions are shallow. So while the main questline is decent, the side content doesn't hold a candle to CD Projekt Red's previous work in games like The Witcher 3. Over time, patches have improved the experience, but the memory of that broken promise remains. The prologue convinced players that they were entering a dynamic, reactive world, but what they got was a beautiful sandbox with limited interaction and design inconsistency. Cyberpunk 2077 is a game where the first impression is so strong that it carries many through the rest of the game, only for them to realize several hours in that the depth simply isn't there. It's an ambitious, flawed masterpiece that shines brightest at the beginning. The games we talked about today all share a common thread. They have an incredible start that sets expectations sky high. Whether it's an emotional trailer, jaw-dropping visuals, innovative gameplay, or compelling world building, they all hook players in early. But maintaining that momentum is a separate challenge. Sometimes the ideas are too ambitious. Sometimes the gameplay doesn't evolve. Sometimes the story simply runs out of steam. Whatever the reason, these games remind us that while first impressions matter, the whole journey counts even more. So in a medium that often promises the world, it's the titles that follow through from intro to finale that truly stand the test of time. And for these games, they'll always be remembered, just not always for the reasons they hoped. Hey, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch the video. While you're here, maybe go down, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more videos like this. As always, I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.